How much does a husband actually owe his wife when they marry? 10 dirhams? 100,000? Or is there no limit at all? Mahr is not a price for the marriage. It is the wife's protected right. But how much is enough? Islamic schools have some very different. Mahr is a...
Since it is a binding legal contract that establishes mutual rights and obligations, there are some repercussions, there are some consequences of this legal contract, and what are these consequences? They are the obligation of mahr in first place. So mahr is the important legal aspect of this contract. It is the right of wife on the husband, but from husband to wife, this is a gift. Although it is a right of wife, but what is this? It is a gift. It is a gift, but mandatory gift. Okay? Mandatory gift from groom to the bride. And all the schools, main schools of Islamic law, they broadly agree on these principles. On the principles regarding mahr. All of them, they agree. That mahr is necessary. Though they differ in some details, in nitty-gritties, but they concur, they agree on the main thing, which is mahr. There is no disagreement. In mahr, its details, what is the minimum quantity of mahr, maximum quantity, and whether to give mahr in the inception of marriage, meaning in the beginning of the mahr, before consummation, so such nitty-gritties. Otherwise, they say that mahr is required. It is mandatory gift. Although they name it gift, but it is a mandatory gift. So there is no backseas, So this is unfortunate that some in our society, people, they back out. They just seek the forgiveness from the wife, and it is very it is sad, and it is a persecution kind of thing. So you cannot ask the wife to forgive the mahr. Legal rulings concerning the dawah is that it is a mandatory gift from the groom to bride, established by Quran as a symbol of respect and financial security. We are not presenting this gift in exchange of anything. We should keep this in mind. This is a very humiliating and insulting thing that we say that we are providing this money for such any exchange. This is just a gift, and it has no the counterpart. So as a symbol of respect and financial security, sometimes it provides financial security too, right? And what are the limits and quantities? Here, this is the point. What is the minimum amount of mahr required, and what is the maximum? So the maximum limit, all school agrees, all school concur that through consensus, there is ijma, consensus, that there is no upper limit to the mahr. There is no the maximum limit. So one can give 1 crore, so one can give 1 million, that depends on the groom and his will. And in Quran it is said, qintar, you can even give the woman the treasure, the qintar, the big treasure, you can give it. Okay, but what is the minimum limit? So here the schools, they are different. So Hanafi says they stipulates mean they make condition. So they stipulates that minimum of 10 dirhams, minimum of 10 dirhams, that is the minimum amount. 10 silver coins, 10 silver coins, so that is the merit. And the Maliki school, so Maliki school, they sets the minimum as 3 dirham. Imam Malik says at least it could be 3 dirham, it should not be less than 3 dirhams. And Shafi'i and Hanbali and Jafari, we are not here, the Hanafi, Maliki, their mazahib, they are not important to quote, because in our syllabus they clearly mentioned that you have to mention one mazhab from these 4 traditional mazahib and one outside of them. Maybe the mazhab of Salafi, the reformists, or the mazhab of Jafari, or any other mazhab, not the traditional 4 Got it? So 2 mazhab. So Jafari is our focus here. So they says that there is no fixed minimum requirement or threshold. You can call it threshold or bare minimum. That there is no threshold for for the mahr according to them. So anything which is considered valuable mal, which is considered which has a recognized value, it can be treated as a mahr. This is mere right of the woman on her husband. So husband has to manage this thing, and she cannot ask anybody else for this thing. And Jafari, what is the Jafari view here? Similar to the majority scholars, they say that they emphasize that mahr is exclusive property of wife, that is exclusive right of wife. So they categorize mahr into so there are 2 types of mahr. It is called mahr Ghair Musamma. Got it? Mahr Ghair Musamma means which is not specified. Okay. The second term, the Jafari school, they use is mahr al-Sunnah, the mahr which is described in hadith, in prophetic sunnah. What was the mahr? It was a 500 dirhams. 500, dirhams, Prophet peace be upon him, that is the mahr of for his wives and daughters. 500 dirhams approximately. We're talking about this. And according to us, the two terminologies is mahr muajjal, which is paid in the marriage contract. In marriage contract, in the very first day, they pay it. So we should not being shy or modest in this thing, because this is right, and we should not be lenient in about rights, because they leads to disputes later on. So mahr muajjal is which is paid on the spot. And the next one is mahr muajjal, mim hamza jimla. Muajjal mean they just promise that we will pay this later on. Without mahr, the marriage contract, it is not complete. Whether the mahr is musamma mean it is specified or not specified. So let's say the mahr is not specified, they did not mention the amount. Then the girl after marriage, what she demand, what amount she would demand, that give me this amount. What is the amount? So here criteria is mahr misl. Got it? Mahr al-Mithl. Mahr al-Mithl mean the customary dawa, which is the customary mahr of in her family. Mean her cousin girls, her cousin sisters, they got 1 lakh, 150, 120, 132, so we take an average amount. This is called mahr misl, and we demand that amount. If the mahr is Ghair Musamma mean which was not specified. So after marriage, when the time comes and when the girl wanted to have it, to receive it, so she would say, give me the mahr misl. There could be a dispute here. No? Husband, he would say, no, I will give you, the 70 or the, 1 lakh. But the girl says requires more, So here criteria is mahr misl, the customary mahr. Okay, so the conclusion, al-mahr is compulsory and protected right of the wife in Islamic marriage. Differences between schools reflect varying approaches to safeguard, the faith, family stability, and social harmony within Islamic law.
Different. Mahr is a protected right, not a price for marriage. Want to understand its limits and differences across Islamic law? Watch the full video and subscribe to Scholarly.